Right, we are rolling. So, welcome back to Mostly Movies. It's episode 5 this time.
Yep.
And,
Long hiatus.
hang on. Oh. Alright, welcome back to Mostly Movies. This is episode 5. We've had a long hiatus because my mic stand fucking broke. And this one isn't too great either, but it'll work. So, Robbie.
Yeah.
I'm Quinn Wright. This is Robbie.
Yeah, I'm Robbie.
We are back in black. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I'm tired.
I'm wearing gray, actually.
Yeah. All right. So that's a great improv move, is to deny. They can't see you, Robbie.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
I want to be honest to our audience.
Yeah, that's true. So what have you seen in our hiatus? You saw something today. You said you saw.
I saw Wind River.
Wind River by Taylor Sheridan, written and directed. His directorial debut, I hear.
Yes.
You say it's good?
It's great, yeah.
That's good. I like Taylor Sheridan. I love Sicario.
Yeah, he's definitely a really good writer.
Hang on.
I think he's a better writer than a director, but he's a solid director.
That's good. I'm glad to see people I like being good. What have I seen lately? I haven't seen a lot. I was watching a lot of Ghost in the Shell stuff recently. The original movie, the second movie, the live action movie. I've turned the page on the live action movie where it's pretty good. It's not it's still not great, but it's pretty good. It pays a lot of good homage to the original movie and the second movie. And I've turned the page on the second movie to really liking it. Whereas I was like, oh, I'm okay with the second movie. I really loved the first one, but the second one's pretty good too.
Yeah, the second one's great. I really love that live action movie.
I wouldn't say I love it yet, but I don't know. Maybe I will.
It's probably the best thing Hollywood could have done.
It was the best we were gonna get. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't... When they announced that Rupert Pupkin, I guess... Rupert Sanders was directing, I'm like, who? And it's like, that's a weird choice, because the only other thing he did was...
Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah, I mean, he did fine. I thought ScarJo was a great choice in casting. Pilou Asbæk was another great casting choice from a visual perspective, and from... I mean, I hadn't seen anything else he'd been in, but his performance was great too. His chemistry with ScarJo was really good. I watched Shin Godzilla again a few times recently. That movie fucking rocks.
Yeah, I've seen it like 5 times already.
It's so good.
Easily the best Godzilla since the original.
Since we last had a podcast, we rented Stalker on Blu-ray and saw it, and that movie's so fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like, it's a slow movie.
It's slow and boring, but great.
But each shot is like literally a work of art.
It's a painting, almost every shot, every frame, every setup is gorgeous.
Yeah. There's
no like throwaway setups that are just there to keep the movie going. They're all just fucking gorgeous. Let's see, what else have we seen? I saw at Amoeba recently the Naked Gun trilogy on Blu-ray, and I'm tempted to get it at some point because, of course, my dad's involvement with them, and they're just fucking great movies.
I haven't seen them yet, actually.
You've never seen The Naked Gun?
Nope.
You just saw Bad Boys 2 recently for the first time, the Bad Boys series.
Yeah,
you hadn't seen Bad Boys 2?
Now I've seen Bad Boys 2.
I've seen Bad Boys 2 now.
Yeah, it's those movies, like the first one was good. The second one is off the fucking chain.
It's shit got real, as they say.
It was...
Those movies, I don't, like, you watch those again and it's like, why again do people have a problem with Michael Bay? Sure, he's mostly shallow, but, I mean, 13 Hours had a lot of depth to it, but
that's the thing, not every movie
who gives a
needs to
shit?
have depth or
exactly.
complex characters or...
No, those movies are primarily entertainment. Those are fucking real deal movies.
I will say the action was thrilling, despite that. I mean, let's see the first chase, like, with the cars flying everywhere.
And the boat on the chain. Yeah, that shit was on the chain.
Yeah, that was...
And then it went off the fucking chain.
A wild fucking scene. And then the ending when they're driving through all those shacks. That was pretty fucking fun.
Was it you that was saying it's like someone mixed that up with another country that they didn't realize it was in Cuba?
Oh, yeah. I read a review on Letterboxd where someone said it was like Brazil or something.
I mean, they probably filmed in Brazil, but...
It was very clear that
it's supposed to be Cuba, obviously. Yeah. It's not like they don't say it 20 times in the movie that this guy's Cuban.
Yeah. Also Miami, Cuba.
Yeah, exactly. Miami. Only in Miami is Cuba so far away. Or whatever that song was in Miami Vice, the first episode.
I don't remember that.
The first episode's really good of Miami Vice. Although I do kind of prefer the movie. I used to prefer the show a lot to the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but now that I'm an adult and have more mature taste, or what is it? When I was a child, I liked Miami Vice the series, but now that I'm a man, I've put away childish things and I like Miami Vice the movie. Because Miami Vice the movie apparently is closer to Michael Bay. Oh Jesus, that's a bad slip. Even though I like Michael Bay,
Yeah, Michael Mann.
Michael Mann. It's closer to Michael Mann's original vision of what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be really fucking dark, which the movie is really fucking dark. Also, Naomi Harris is fucking impeccably sexy in that movie.
I would have to watch it again, but
She
usually is.
Yeah, she's very attractive, and she's a great actress too.
Mm-hmm.
Was she in Children of Men? Wasn't she in Children of Men?
No, she was not.
Why did I think that? Huh. She was great in 28 Days Later too.
Mm-hmm. Also on the James Bond movie.
Yeah.
James Bond movie,
she's gonna be. Did she go into? Was she Inspector?
She was Inspector. Yeah.
Okay, good. I still haven't seen that all the way through yet. I've only seen the first scene.
It's underrated in my opinion. A lot of people shit on it because it's not Skyfall, but it's good.
Yeah. I mean, I liked Casino Royale a lot too.
Yeah, Casino Royale's great.
I mean, Quantum of Solace is whatever.
Yeah, it's a pretty whatever movie.
Yeah.
Pretty forgettable. Actually, I've seen that movie several times. I can't
remember
think
most
of
of
a
it.
single scene really.
Yeah.
Except for the opening.
Yeah, I don't even remember the opening really.
I mean,
I remember the sort of it.
It's kind of a mess of editing and overly edited, stylized bullshit.
Yeah, what people complain about with Michael Bay movies.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of did consistently complain about this too, I think.
It's kind of a mix of like the Paul Greengrass horrible shaky cam thing and then like over-edited kind of Flash.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't find it thrilling at all.
Yeah.
The opening of James Bond movies are supposed to be thrilling.
Yeah. I really haven't seen a lot of James Bond movies outside of the Craig ones, to be honest. James Bond is the worst spy ever, by the way. Especially in the Daniel Craig movies where it is confirmed that it is actually his name. He's the worst intel agent I've ever seen. Because he's constantly giving out his real name. What the fuck? You don't do that as an intel agent.
Yeah, that's pretty questionable.
I mean, that would kind of be a brilliant move to give out your real name, your government name, and then just people know you're an intel agent. It's like, oh, that's not his real name. Oh shit, it is.
Yeah, what's the point of him having the 007 name?
Yeah, if he just throws out his real name, why does he have a code number? That's dumb. James Bond is dumb. What was it that? No, I'm thinking of the comparison between Lara Croft and Indiana Jones, where Lara Croft is much cooler than Indiana Jones, not just because she's an attractive young lady, but because she also doesn't steal from impoverished cultures. Really, even though she's like a Tomb Raider, she's a much better archaeologist because she like comes prepared and like is there to learn rather than just steal and plunder. Like, I don't think you ever see Indiana Jones with a camera. Which is like, why wouldn't that kind of person have a camera? Like, just even it's in the Nazi times, you'd have some little 35mm SLR with a 50mm lens or something. Or, I don't know, something.
He's there for the invention, not the...
Yeah, but that's not what those people do.
I know, but it's an action movie.
Yeah. It's a Nazi punch movie.
Yeah. Nazi melting movie.
Nazi melting movie, yeah. Have you seen the movie Stalingrad, the 93 movie? Have I shown you that?
I've not seen the original or the remake.
Well, it's not really a remake.
Oh, really?
The 2013. It does have Thomas Kretschmann in it, who was in the original, the 93 movie. And he's kind of playing the opposite of who he was in the 93 movie. He's playing this evil Nazi, like... So, I mean, he's kind of relatable in the fact that he falls in love with a Russian, like, lady, but even then, it's still more of, like, there's definitely an element of coercion through force, because he is an occupying, Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of in, like, the original 1993 Stalingrad was kind of, I'd say the alternate title is hashtag not all Nazis, because it's like, not all Nazis were, like, I hate to say it, bad guys. I mean, the fucking ideology is horrible, but not all of them believed in that ideology. Some of them were conscripts. Some of them signed up because they, believed in their country. It's like Vietnam. Some of them were. Some of them were duped. I mean, a lot of them were duped. Mostly it was the higher-ups, as far as I know, that really hated Jewish people. And the other people were just serving their times. A lot of pogues and stuff. People just serving their country while their country did horrible things, like we did in Vietnam and we do in Afghanistan.
Yeah. Well, let's not get too political.
Yeah, let's not get political. I mean, National Socialism, fuck that ideology. Fuck it. I'm not going to say that's a good ideology in any way. I'm just saying not everyone followed that ideology in that army, which is what the 93 movie shows. And I think they're kind of attempting in some parts of the 2013 movie to, even though it is really Russian propaganda, kind of Russian World War II propaganda in the 2013 movie, which is, I mean, it's a Russian movie about the Russian people. I don't remember if it's maybe based on a true story, but I doubt it. It's probably purely propaganda because it's so stylized too. It's like ridiculously stylized. There's some great shots in it though, like when the Russians are set on fire and they're just running at the Nazis on fire. It's so cool. Just catch Nazis on fire with their own flaming bodies. That's a pretty cool shot. The special effects in that are pretty good.
It's like practical effects, I assume?
I don't know. I mean, that's one of the movies where it's like, I can't tell what some of them did. Like, a lot of it looks so stylized, it could be CG, it could be practical. I guess that's kind of the goal.
It's like 300, where like
it's 300 set in World War II, basically.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of...
It's so stylized to, in my opinion, it feels a lot like 300. It's that same kind of thing. In tone. It's maybe a little darker than 300, although 300 was pretty dark.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder, let's talk about him. He's been getting flack lately. I mean, not lately, but, ever since he took over, really since Sucker Punch, which I understand is not a great movie.
I mean, I foresee more flack coming when Justice League comes out.
Probably, although Wonder Woman did well, and Wonder Woman is going to be in Justice League, and Joss Whedon has taken over the editing of Justice League.
Wonder Woman was in Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, that's true.
People liked her, but they still showed.
Well, did they really like her, or was that ideology speaking for them? I mean, not to get political again, but, not to be an MRA, because I'm not an MRA. I think Joss Whedon's picking up the project will do wonders for it in the public eye. Even though Joss Whedon's not going to do a lot. Although, with Joss Whedon
got some bad blood because of Avengers Age of Ultron.
Oh, I thought you were going to mention the shit about his wife.
Well, that too, but...
That's going to do a lot of bad stuff. Although, one political thing is, you can be shitty to one woman and manipulative one woman and still be a feminist, I think. You can be shitty to a person and not be shitty to other people that are like that person. Right? I mean, we're losing individualism is what I'm saying. Anyway, back to movies. Yeah, I hope Justice League does well. I mean, I hope every movie does well, to be quite honest. I never hope a movie tanks, ever. Because what is it to me if a movie does well or not? I mean, what is it to me if a movie does well? It affects me not at all if a movie does well. Except makes me happy. If it's a movie I like, it's like, I like that it does well. If I don't like it, it's like, okay, good for it. It's doing well. Okay, I don't care. That's just more money in the pot, Yeah. So I don't get why people...
I mean, as long as movies continue to do well, they'll make more.
Yeah, I don't get why people... I mean, because people are very vindictive nowadays about if they don't like a thing, it shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Speaking of it shouldn't exist, you saw It?
Oh yeah, I loved It.
Yeah, I've not seen the original. I've not read the book, although I heard the book. I've heard the ending of the book originally, or whatever, is literally child pornography, basically.
Yeah, that's what you told me.
Yeah, it's literally a child orgy.
So I guess that happens at the end of the childhood segment of the book.
Yeah, that's how they beat it. That's how they beat Pennywise.
In the movie.
Yeah, that's how they commented on that, I hear.
Yeah. The director, I guess he stated that
he's like, no, we're not going to do that because that's completely not right. That's immoral and wrong. I mean, whatever. It's not like I want to see that.
No. It wouldn't fit with the tone of the movie.
Probably.
Anyways.
Yeah, I have no. I love Stephen King stuff, but I have no real attachment to it.
Well, you should see it because it is one of the best Stephen King adaptations.
What about The Mist? That was fucking great.
I'd say that and it are my favorite Stephen King adaptations.
What about The Shining?
Shining's great too, but I actually haven't seen it in a while, so I need to rewatch it in order to like.
Shining is so great, even though Stephen King hated it.
Yeah, that's
You know what? Fuck him. He has terrible taste in radio too. You've heard that O&A segment of
No, I've not
his
heard that
radio
one.
station? That's such a fucking good segment.
On YouTube, the videos I've watched.
It's very funny because Jimmy likes Stephen King and he's like gets so angry at Stephen King because it's like I like him but fuck him.
Isn't Jimmy a big fan of The Shining?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's a big fan of Stephen King's novels, so that hit him personally. I think when Stephen King shit on Opie and Anthony.
Did he personally attack Jimmy?
I mean, he attacked the show.
Yeah, that's true.
So he might have personally. I don't remember. I haven't heard that bit in a while. Opie and Anthony, one of the greatest radio shows next to Rum and Fez.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. I've been playing some video games lately. I've been playing a lot of Payday 2 and Resident Evil. I beat Wesker in 5 with a knife at the end because I ran out of ammo. That was pretty fun.
I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, which one?
After all these years of starting it, never finishing it. Well, 2 games actually. The Resident Evil remake.
Yeah, one of the greatest.
Resident Evil 0.
Yeah, 0 is kind of dumb, but I like it.
0 was dumb, but it was fun to play.
Yeah.
The remake is great.
The remake's one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah.
Like, it did everything correctly, basically.
And it's still visually incredible.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have to up-res a lot.
No. 7's still my favorite Resident Evil, though.
Yeah, 7's a great game. I played Resident Evil Revelations 2. I finished that. That was fucking good. Yeah. I got a pretty harsh ending.
How many endings are there, do you know?
I think there's at least 2. There might be more than that. There might be like 4. But I know there are at least 2. Apparently they changed Claire's voice actress for Revelations 2. Which
really?
I liked Allison Court, but this new one's fine too. Whatever. I mean, I didn't care too much for the Claire segments anyway. I mean, I'm a Barry Burton kind of dude.
Yeah.
Although I did like how Claire goes... I do like the evolution of Claire's character in the series. Because she goes from kind of normal... I mean, you never see her as a normal college student, but she's like 18 in the first game. Well, not the first game. In the second game, in her first appearance. And, like, she just gets... I mean, really the ages are always weird in Resident Evil. They've always been weird. The only one that kind of makes sense is, like, Leon's, and I think Chris's and Jill's. And Barry's. But, like, Rebecca is the worst character of all the Resident Evil characters, I think. It makes no sense to me that Capcom canonically says she survived the first game. Because there's no reason for her to have. There's no way you can manufacture that in any of the game's endings, by the way, is because Barry has to have survived because he's in other games. He's in 3, he's in Revelations 2. But chronologically, Rebecca Chambers has not been seen since Resident Evil 1. Except for that pretty shitty Resident Evil Vendetta. I mean, the visual effects were pretty good, but the ending was the most retarded ending of any zombie movie I've ever seen, which is they cure the fucking zombies. That's literally the dumbest ending they could have gone.
All the zombies, like, in the world are cured?
Well, in the area of operation. In New York City. The A virus, which is, I don't understand why they keep going with new viruses. You could
stick to the T or the G virus.
Yeah. But the A virus gets released in New York City, and so everyone's turned into zombies. It's Raccoon City all over again. And then they have a cure. And they cure the fucking zombies that have been eating people.
Yeah.
It's like, that's part of... I don't think that should be a thing, because A, that's literally bringing them back from the dead. B, imagine the psychological damage.
Yeah, they wake up to see themselves
eating people. Like, that's what the tragedy of it, I think, it should be, is that they're dead once they... I mean, I don't understand any of that. Like, now that I think of it, it makes even less sense Because literally what the viruses do is it kills the host, then brings them back.
Mhm.
And that makes no sense to bring them back to full capacity. It's dumb. Although I've also noticed in that movie some of the minor characters look almost completely photoreal.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great movie. And I mean, some of the stunts and stuff are pretty cool looking. Some of the sequences look pretty cool, like when Leon turns into John Wick.
So the action's pretty good.
The action's pretty decent, but
What kind of BOWs have they got?
they got a Tyrant-style BOW. They got 2 Tyrant-style BOWs. One that, one that transforms.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got the Cerberuses. And that's really it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of another one in that.
No liquors or anything?
No liquors. Liquors haven't been seen in the movies since... liquors were only in Damnation.
Yeah.
They really mostly stick with zombies. It's a shame we've never seen a hunter in a movie, which the hunter is the MA-121, my favorite personal BOW in the Resident Evil series, besides as far as common monsters go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Tyrant T101 and T103, those are the best. But, you know, those are boss monsters.
Yeah.
As far as common enemies go, hunters are the shit.
Yeah, hunter's pretty cool.
You played Revelations 1, which I haven't finished yet. You were disappointed, you said.
Revelations 1 has a kind of weird tone. It feels like an anime. I don't know.
It feels like a bad anime.
Yeah, like the thing about Resident Evil.
Some of the visual
despite being
aspects of
silly,
it.
it feels grounded. Like
Yeah,
it's
and
believable
gritty.
in a way. Yeah, but Revelations just feels really
A
cartoonish.
lot of the especially visually, like
Yeah.
the one dude from the FBC.
Yeah, and the writing, like the writing's never been like.
Yeah, Resident Evil's never had really good writing.
But Revelation 1 had some pretty terrible writing.
Yeah.
I don't know, just like it went from like
it felt
being,
phoned in a little.
Yeah, also it went from being like easy to like incredibly difficult, like
within the same
half,
difficulty level.
Yeah.
Whereas the problem I had with Revelations 2 was that I started it at normal, it got a little too tough for me, and then I bumped it down to easy, and then it was way too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, back to movies. The Resident Evil movies are pretty fucking good, except...
First one's great.
Well, the first one's great.
Second one's pretty good, and then the rest are...
Kind
the
of
third
suck.
one I didn't like, but
I didn't
the
like
rest
the
of
third
them
one.
are fun.
Yeah.
There's dumb, fun action movies.
Yeah. They're doing a reboot on that series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows? It might be,
Maybe.
decent.
Maybe. Who knows? Who's attached to it?
I don't
Do
think
you
there's any names attached right now. Or that have been announced.
Oh. Do they have a script yet?
I don't know. All
Maybe
I know
I
is that
can
they
try
plan to
to do
reboot the
something.
series.
I should really legitimately try to write a script for Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I mean, I've fucking just... I'm trying to... That could be my break-in.
Would you base it on one of the games or create a new story?
3. I base it on 3. Maybe. I don't know. I've watched recently the original first Resident Evil CGI movie that was ever made back in like 2001 or 2000 actually, which was Biohazard 4D Executor. It was never released outside of theme parks in Japan.
All right, I remember you telling me about that one.
The animation in that is pretty god awful though. Like it's just this. There's like weird movements in it that time. It's just visually not appealing at all.
Sounds like is it fun?
But it's not really. But it follows the UBCS, and that's my favorite organization in the entire series of Resident Evil. So you know, I don't know. I like it for that. There's some legitimately disturbing gore in it.
Really?
Yeah, at the end. I mean, it's a 19-minute movie because it was made for theme parks.
Yeah. It was like one of those like 3D experiences or something.
Yeah. What else were we going to talk about? You saw this movie, the movie Raw, you said?
Yeah, Raw.
Which I was surprised was not a WWE movie.
No.
It's
It's
like,
far from it.
yes. Well, if you consider Chris Benoit's family, you know, maybe, I don't know. Chris Benoit murders his entire family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then it got erased from WWE history.
Huh.
There was a timeline going on at the time, I hear, where Vince McMahon was dead, had been killed in a car explosion, apparently. You know, everything in wrestling's fucking fake. And so what happened is Vince McMahon had to come out of being dead because Chris Benoit actually murdered his entire family and then himself.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking dark. So that's why I thought that was. Phone's off, Robbie. Jesus.
Sorry, I was hoping no one would hear that. You're the one that brought attention
Yeah, I
to
know.
it.
No, they probably won't hear it in the mix, actually.
Okay.
So I could be lying, but I'm not. Anyway, what else did we? You explain what Raw is without spoilers, because you spoiled it to me.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to
It's a great twist
Raw is a French horror film about a
about
college student.
vegetarianism sucking.
Well, no, the vegetarian almost could have saved her.
Yeah.
But anyways, she's a vegetarian and she's a college student. She goes to college, a veterinarian college, and during the hazing process of like the first day of school, they force her to eat raw meat.
Now, see, I see that as a comedy. Because that's fucking funny to me.
Well, no, once you see the movie, you'll see
Yeah,
it's
I know.
not a comedy.
Yeah, I know. But that concept of forcing a vegetarian to eat raw meat is very funny to me, because I'm very into bullying. Like, people... No, I'm really sort of not. No, I mean, I can't even say I'm not, because really, bullying has given us some great things. Like, in Metal Gear Rising, how it's like, what about the great things war has given us? Really, bullying has given us some great things, like Godzilla.
Yeah.
Godzilla was originally conceptualized to bully some janitor at Toho.
Well, it has to be done right. It has to be done in like a legitimately entertaining way.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have... It can't be just...
Like kids just going after school, jumping another kid and beating him to like a...
Well, that's assault. That's not bullying. To me, that's just straight up assault.
Well, the lead up to that.
Yeah, okay. I mean, making fun of people isn't even bullying, in my opinion, to be honest. But that's what it is really...
Well, that's what it's become labeled as.
Yeah, I mean, as many of my target audience know, probably because they know me from the Ding Dong Show or something, that's because I'm probably going to try to promote it to the Ding Dong Show people, is I find that kind of shit, like Windy City Heat, hysterical. Windy City Heat is the fucking funniest thing. And I can see easily how people could say it's bullying, but it's much more nuanced than that. There's a lot of nuance to it, because Perry's such a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that that's, I don't know, but because it's legitimately funny, too.
Yeah.
It's not just because it's, Perry is a piece of shit that it's not
just
bullying, but it's because it's not just mean-spirited, it's fucking hysterical, too.
Yeah.
And even still, a lot of comedy is mean-spirited.
Yeah.
It's just nuanced levels of mean-spirited, really.
Yeah.
What else should we talk about? How about, what else have we seen lately? I haven't seen a lot. I tried to show the parents Ghost in the Shell, as I told you, and Dad fell asleep during it. I don't know, I shouldn't say it. He was asleep. He's working hard, so whatever.
You should watch it when he doesn't have work.
Well, it's tough. Saturdays are movie nights for us, and, he works that day, and he works a lot. Mm-hmm. My dad works a lot. Let's see, what time are we at? 28 minutes. I think that is probably good. So, I was going to try to do a longer episode, but 28 minutes is pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next episode, I'm going to try to get fellow YouTuber. Oh, we're going to talk about YouTube videos. Sorry for the delay in ending this horrible mockery of, a podcast. We love, if you have shitty YouTube videos, like, that we can laugh at, please send it to us. Yeah. Please send them to us, because we love, like, children making airsoft videos on YouTube are fucking hysterical.
Yeah, because it is so, like, why would you upload this? Like,
right, but also it's like, the people commenting on them are so funny, too, because it's like, why are you expecting anything out of it?
Yeah.
But one of my favorite things about children making airsoft movies is that they believe that their props have to follow the logic of airsoft, of the prop that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're constantly cocking them because they're spring props. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, you can just pull the trigger and pretend it's shooting, silly. And how, like, Yugle 2 is the best example of this. Yeah. Yugle 2 is this kid who, actually, you can watch him grow up, kind of, through his YouTube channel. It's kind of interesting, in a way. I mean, his content never really gets that much better, but, whatever.
I think his content was better when he was younger.
Yeah, I like that content better because it was objectively worse. And I'm a mean-spirited person, but, it was also more fun. Yeah. Like, because of the lack of effort. Because we like being infuriated by that. Because we're weird, terrible people.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you have shitty YouTube videos like Bugle 2 stuff to send us, please do, because we love to laugh at that shit. Robbie, you got anything to promote?
Not right now. I'm pretty much not doing anything on YouTube right now. I'm taking a hiatus from my podcast and not making any movies right now. I am in the process of one of my movies that I wrote is being edited right now, so that will eventually be uploaded. But
yep,
it's gonna be a while, I think.
What's the name of it again?
It's called Null and Void. Yeah.
Null and Void. I'm gonna color it or something. I think it was. And I've got the footage. I might take a crack at editing.
Yeah, we're probably doing our podcast right before it's released.
Yeah, we'll promote it then. And so, what's your channel so people can look at your old stuff?
Fuck, I can't remember.
Isn't it Rob S Productions?
No, I think it's called Rob's Video Dump.
Okay, Rob's Video Dump. Just look it up. Just Google whatever. I can be found at Right on Target. Right on Target is my right with a W, RIGHT on Target. That is my name on social media. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Next podcast, I'm thinking of having fellow YouTuber Joseph A. Sabora on. None of you know who he is. He went to film school with me. And yeah, I'm thinking of having him on. Maybe to debate some movies that he didn't like and I did. Like, I'm thinking Batman vs. Superman, because I thought it was fun. I'm thinking Suicide Squad. I'm thinking, I don't know. Anyways, I can be found, as I said, at Right on Target. This is Quinn Wright and Robbie Story signing off. And, peace.